Hey everybody, how you doing today? I was gonna start off on the tombs, and I think this is gonna be a multi-part series because I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do this. I've thought about this a lot. Let me see if I could kind of illustrate this. Bring up a paint project. I don't know why it starts with this weird oblong canvas here. Oh, I'm not even looking at the screen. Hold on a second. Nothing interesting so far anyways. Hey everybody, how you doing? So inside of CastleMiner, we have the ability to build the world in 256 block segments at a time now. And there's a couple different strategies for building procedural dungeons. And one of the things that I need to do is I have to make it so that the dungeons are reproducible, so that when you come back to the same area, the same dungeon reproduces each time. So the style of dungeon that I had before when I was doing this for CastleMiner Dungeons was what I called NetHack dungeons, which were basically like a room and another room and another room, and then there would be lines and doors that would connect. You would build a door, and the door would connect from one place to another, and it would build sort of passageways orthogonally between these places. So, you know, something like this. And the problem with this is we don't actually have a lot of space, and this is going to waste a ton of space. So there's another style of dungeons that's like bunkers, which is like little rooms that are, this is a horrible tool for this, that are separated out by hallways. Kind of get the idea here. And then these would be like separate rooms. So my strategy to first of all is to get one of these building and see what that looks and feels like. And if it works good, then I can deal with like how these places connect to each other and things like that. I'm not sure exactly how to get that to work yet, but I think if I can build out these types of rooms, and so this would be one chunk of a dungeon, and I have to really get an idea about how big these would be, then I could sort of figure out ways to connect them in some interesting way, like maybe I could put hallways on the edges of the walls or something like that, and the hallways would connect. So what I decided to do was, instead of trying to implement this directly into Unreal, that I was going to build a little dungeon visualizer tool from scratch, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to try to get this algorithm working inside of there. And then when I have this algorithm working inside of my tool, then I'll bring that into the game, and I'll be able to at least walk around these dungeons and see. There's a bunch of details, like these things will need doors, maybe doors to each other. And then of course, like there's going to have to be, you know, it's going to have to know about decorating walls and stuff like that. I also would like to have like multi-level dungeons and dungeons that aren't necessarily on the same level, which it's funny, this is a much easier way to do this because then I can have steps down and steps up into other things. But I have an idea about how to build these dungeons, so I'm gonna go and do that. The other interesting thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my AI coding tool that I built myself here to build up a lot of this external tool, just because it'll make it faster here for the stream, and it's just a lot less work to do tedious stuff. So we'll get to go through that process too. So I started here. I was building a brand new just Visual Studio project. I don't know why this Windows seem to work funny when I'm on the stream. And we're starting here from scratch with a new form. And when I use, this is a really good way to use the visual coding tool or the AI coding tool, because you can just sort of point it at the project and it'll do the work for you. So what I just want here, I don't want anything fancy. This is why I make tools like this all the time for myself. Just because it's an easy way to mock up code. Is man, where is the toolbox? I haven't. It looks like I haven't used this in a while. There is a window for. God, it's every time I get live, there's always some sort of snag. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this empty app. I'll just throw a button down here at the bottom. And I will call this button generate, and where is the text field for that? Generate, double click it, get a button handler in there. And then I think what I'm going to need is just an image box. We'll see if that is there an image? It's been a while since I've done this, so it's like I have to look at this. We'll anchor this thing to the all sides, anchor this thing to the bottom left, and if I scale it, it should scale. For kicks, let's make the background color here black. Okay, I think that's all we'll need for now. We'll see how this goes. And I figure I could model this thing in with a wow, it's weird the AI knew that was dungeon new. Yeah, so here our things are 256 by 256. And we'll just have a generate dungeon, and a public void update station. So when I push the button, it'll just we'll generate our dungeon. And we will update the image in the box. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save this, and I am going to make a new Okay, so I'm going to point syntactic at my project, and now I have my project loaded up in the AI tool. And again, this is like, I've been working on this tool for months. It's a very, very advanced AI programming tool. Let's say, so the first thing we want to do is prompt this, the dungeons, I'm the worst speller ever, G-E-O-N. The dungeons are represented by the bool array. Can you implement the update visualization call to display a set, let's see what we get, set of blocks that visualizes the array as black and white boxes. Let's see if this, let me save this project here just to, what is this? Saving the syntactic project. Let's see what we get out of this. So we'll just do a loop. This isn't particularly difficult programming, but what happens a lot of times is it's tedious and you make mistakes. So this thing is going off now and it's producing the implementing the feature that I want. I don't know what this white thing is. It's like super strange. This will also make the stream go a little faster because I can talk to you guys and answer your questions while the AI is working for me. Somebody asked if we got our monetization back. Yes, we did. Thank you very much for your support. We're almost at the second tier for monetization on YouTube, so I appreciate that. Somebody asked if we're hiring. Everybody right now is working for free. So is that my AI tool is not yet available for the public. I haven't released it yet. I had put some videos up and I was getting ready for that, but I didn't feel like it was ready yet. But I use it internally a lot. I'm actually kind of surprised that this is taking this long to do this. Pull this over here and check some stuff out. Oh, we're done. Okay. Took a little longer than I thought it would, but we're done. Yeah. So it looks like it wants to, okay, cool. It put a bitmap in there and drew the dungeon in there. I will accept those changes, and then let's give the visualizer a try. Actually, it should probably have nothing. Yeah, there's probably no difference here because we need to generate the dungeon. So let's do this. Like, that is a that was an AI suggestion, which is really cool. I mean, it's basically coding nowadays. Everyone's using these AI context tools. So, like, you know, it just starts suggesting the code for you, and it's very, very good at guessing. So this should make a diagonal line across our thing. Generate. Totally did not work. This code is really straightforward, so I'm actually surprised it doesn't work. 256, 256, cell width 2 by 2. It's actually really small. So just for sanity here, just want to fill the color, fill the whole thing red, and just see if we're actually seeing the image. It's funny. I used to do a lot of this type of programming, and I don't that much anymore. So in my old days, I would be able to very quickly. Does a code in place now? So that's working. Maybe this is just not big enough to see. Let's see if let's just make the whole thing larger. Yeah, this is so such a straightforward implementation. I'm just so surprised that this doesn't work. Another sanity check is let's just make it brush is equal to brushes green. Okay, so that is actually working. Oh, duh. God. Okay. Yeah, everything was working. It's just me writing sloppy code. AI did great. I did bad. Okay, cool, cool. So each one of these things represents a block. I'm kind of fine with this visualization. So this will let us visualize the dungeon pretty easily. So all we have to do now, that's actually probably all the AI that we need, is we just need a dungeon, the thing that generates the dungeons. Before I do this, I actually want to start the game up and I want to figure out how wide hallways and how tall things should be. Just to get a sense of the scale that I'm building inside of here. So I'm going to just launch our game really quick, and I'm going to mess around in there and try to get... Oh my God! Thank you for the donations! Somebody asked about procedurally generated worlds. The worlds are procedurally generated, so I don't really understand that question. If you weren't on the stream last night, I'd love to show you the torches. We have the torches in. It takes a couple of minutes for the seconds for the items to load, but here we got a torch in our hand. And we can go down in a cave. This cave doesn't go anywhere. I know this map really good. We got the flickering of the lights and everything working last night. It was pretty cool. But let's go down in a deeper cave and see. I just want to see what's the minimum that we can get away with for hallways and things like that. So I'll put a torch up here, a torch here, and I'll start digging into here. These are kind of over the top right now. I can take away blocks instantly. So definitely, let's see. I think the hallway, they have to probably be at least, what is this? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, if not 5 tall. 4 blocks, 4 to 5 blocks tall. A comfortable hallway is 2 blocks wide. Is this 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, at least 4 high. And probably we need hallways that are also 3 to 4. I want to have wide, narrow and wide hallways. So a hallway that is 3 blocks wide is probably more reasonable. And just for kicks, let's see what 4. Go a little deeper into here. What a 4 width of 4. Four is definitely a big hallway. So this is, we go 1, and this is 2 actually, yeah, 2 blocks. Three and 4, so we could definitely get away with 2 block hallways, 2 to 4. 2 to 5 probably, or 1 to 5. The variation, I would like the more variation we put in the better, so that's good. And then in terms of a room, like the smallest we could probably get away with is probably 5 by 5 is what I'm thinking. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. You guys probably have more experience with this than me. I think that's the absolute smallest we could get rid of. So like a minimum of 5 by 5. I don't exactly know how I'm going to approach this, so this should be a really interesting stream. Let me just kick the ceiling out here. Just to see how this feels. That's 4 blocks high, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could definitely get away with 4 block high ceilings, probably 5. It's going to feel a little bit better. I guess if you wanted hallways that are doors of 4, you would probably want an overhang. So it would kind of feel like a doorway coming into them. Oh, thank you. Somebody, Epic Sage, thank you for the donation. What graphics card? I have a 4060 right now. Is what I'm sporting. I'm sorry, while I'm doing work here, it's hard for me to answer all your questions. I'm going to try to do the best I can at doing it. Somebody asked me if Valve ever asked me to join their team. No. There was a time period where I used to meet at Valve. I actually live, I shouldn't say this, I live very close to Valve. And there was a time period where I was going down there regularly, and I was on a panel of indie developers, and we would talk about how to make their marketplace better. But no, Valve has never reached out to me and wanted me to work with them. Okay, so I think we got the data that we need here. Just for funsies, let's go kill a zombie real fast, just for the sake of the stream. this guy gonna go aggro on me? No. Spawn a couple of these. Oh, thanks for the donation. What's my vision for the bosses? I gotta be careful about what I say here because like what I want and what I'm gonna get are like two different things. And to be honest, a lot of that has to do with if the Kickstarter comes through for us or not. In fact, while these guys are spawning, I should put the Kickstarter link up on here. You can sign up to be notified when we run our Kickstarter. We're going to have most of what was in there before. By the way, somebody was complaining that the game was laggy. If I tab away from Unity, the game gets laggy. Like it isn't the game. It actually is just the way the Unity editor works. Like if I tab over here and I start chatting to you or something, eventually the game gets really laggy. But that's actually not the game. It's just the way that the Unity editor works. These are all stand-in zombies. Everybody's complaining about the Hell Lord's hitbox being off, and that's obviously not something we're going to replicate. I would love to have a lot of different bosses. And again, I'm afraid to talk about it because I'm afraid that that's just not going to be things that we can get in. But if we could add, if the game is successful and we can add more, I have a lot of plans for different bosses and different biomes and different areas of the world. So, but I don't like to like announce things that may never happen. So let's go back to our dungeon visualizer. Okay, so this is really interesting because in that space, that's a way better use of space than I thought we could do before. I think the way to approach this is somebody's asking here if the sounds are going to be the same. There'll be a lot of the same sounds and then new things also as well. Somebody's asking if it's going to... I have to make a FAQ video because the same questions keep coming up over and over again. We will be on Xbox if they let us be on Xbox. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have I'm going to start by subdividing regions and then randomly, and then make those the hallways, and then divide regions again to make the rooms. So let's see how this works out. It's funny, this thing already knows what we're doing. Okay. And every time we do this, yeah. So let's start by breaking this down. We'll handle everything as rectangles. And we'll say subdivide region. And we will in a rectangle in as the region. And let's go... And essentially we're going to return two regions out. This will be a good syntactic thing. Okay, so come back here and we'll say implement subdivide region so that it, we should add some constraints on here. So let's say min hallway width is 2, max hallway width is 4, 5, is that what we said? Okay. And then int min room width is 5, min room length. We just use 1 for that, that's fine. Okay. This is actually not hard to do, but it's kind of a pain, so we'll have Syntactic do it for us. Implement subdivide region so that it picks a random line to split the region and returns the 2 resulting regions, but the regions are not ever less than the min room width. And let me kick this off. Why the project disappeared? Hold. It's interesting. The files disappeared up here. It's probably a bug. And while this is going and doing the work for me, I can answer some of your questions. Somebody's asking about the Xbox Series. I have no idea what the min spec for the Xbox is going to be on the game. Somebody's asking if the dragons will still be in the game. Yes, the dragons will still be in the game. Another donation, thank you. Is there a set date for the beta? No. It's when the game is almost done, and hopefully that'll be later this year. Steam Workshop support, I think it's a... I would like to do that. Again, we're just trying to get a game out the door right now. I wonder if this is going to actually work, because something screwed up in my tool here. Should play music while it's doing this. It takes it's cool about this. These are pretty simple things to do, but it could actually do very, very advanced things over an entire project. But it all takes about the same amount of time to use, so it's debatable whether it's worth doing. There's a lot of really specific questions about how the AI is going to work, and I just don't know. We haven't made this stuff yet. There was a reason that somebody's asking if the dragons will touch the ground. There was a reason that the dragons didn't touch the ground in the first game. It was really hard to do that with the AI and physics, and the dragons were so big, so it was easier to avoid that. for example, if the dragon spins around and swings its tail, what happens to the terrain in the thing? Like, so if the tail went through the terrain without affecting it, people would be upset. If it destroyed all the terrain in its path, people would be upset. And the implications of, having it like bounce realistically off the terrain is probably what people would expect, but actually very difficult to do and doesn't contribute much to the game. So we wouldn't do that. Okay, we are done. And I don't have, for some reason, files are missing up here. So this might be a bug with Syntactic. If I restart this, I'll get the... Yeah, here we go. We got our changes back in. Oh, did we not save this? So it actually did implement this for us. Yeah, this wasn't saved. Well, let's see if I save this now, if it'll update this. Yeah, we'll have to do it again. Oh, wow, and that disappeared again. I have to look at this. Was working very reliable before. No. Yeah, here we go. Good. It did the delta on itself. We didn't have to redo the AI. And here's the algorithm to split the regions. Let's just accept those. I usually get Syntactic to build itself, to implement features in itself. It's actually built probably 70% of its own. It built itself probably 60-70% of the way. Oh, did I miss a donation? No. Oh yeah, I did. Here. Oh, set date for the beta. Sorry. Okay. This is interesting. It did more than I thought it would. It handled horizontal and vertical splits. This I don't like. I would rather have this be a return nothing. Oops. Let's just see what this looks like. Okay, so in our generate dungeon, we'll start by clearing everything. And let's try building a region. Start region, that's exactly what we want. And we will do a subdivide region, start region, and rectangle. List of rectangle regions. Got a regions.add subdivide regions. Okay. Add range. Yeah. I just want to see what we get here. And we have two regions, 0, 77, 77 to 256. That actually probably is correct. Let's figure out a way to draw these. Wow, and the files disappeared again. I don't understand why this is happening. See it. This is going to make this very difficult. I think what I'm going to do is I don't know why this tool was working very, very good before. So I'm going to just point it at itself really quickly, and I'm going to ask it why it's malfunctioning. Each time a external file changes, I lose the entire tree. Can you fix this bug? So now the AI tool is fixing itself. Somebody's asking if Lantern Land will come back. Lantern Land was a bug, but it has become sort of a canonical part of the game. So we're going to put something out there that is reminiscent of Lantern Land. This is a pretty abstract request to have it do, to just fix this bug randomly, but it seems like it's actually been able to figure something out. I don't know why. It's funny. I maintain this project and I don't know why it happened. Can we expect better world generation for endurance? Thank you for the donation. I don't know what that means. So I guess you would probably have to explain that in more detail to me. I wonder if I have any syntactic files checked out. Let me. The way my monitors are set up here, I gotta kind of crane around. I didn't expect, I would have done this offline. I didn't expect to have to be fixing an AI tool while I was working here. It's very strange though, because I've used this tool for months and not had this problem. Somebody asked here what made us do a remake. I think we always wanted to do a remake. It just wasn't always convenient for us to do, and everybody became available at the same time. So we were able to do that. which is great for everybody. I'm really curious to see if it's able to fix this bug because I have no idea what's causing it. Somebody asked here, is there a way of exporting files? I think what you're meaning is you want to export your worlds from the old games to the new, and I can almost guarantee you that we're not going to do that. The new worlds are actually a lot different than the old worlds. Oh, you're asking about the AI tool. It basically it gets changes ready for you, and you can choose to accept them or have it redo the changes. This seems to be taking a long time, but it definitely isn't fast. Somebody asked me if they go too far in the original, they start clipping through blocks, and yeah, we totally knew that. A lot of those game engines, they all break down at a certain distance. We were kind of surprised that you could go as far as you went. We talked about in the beginning is like limiting you to how far you can go. And I remember John specifically having a discussion with me. He's like, I don't know what'll happen when you go far away. And I was like, okay, we'll just leave it in and we'll see. And it turned out Lantern Land was what ended up happening. But any game engine will end up doing that if you have a big, like very, very, very big maps. Unreal is that's actually one of the first tests we did. Is Unreal has better math, so it seems to be stable out at further distances. God, I gotta see. I switched AI models around in this, and I'm wondering if maybe that's part of the reason why it's running so slow. Somebody asked how many people are working on the game. There is basically 4 of us right now. Okay, this seems to have figured out what the bug was in this. Oh, somebody wants to know specifically why the bug duplicated the tower. What it was a rollover bug. So there was a place in the code where we calculated the distance from the start point, and it was in the code that drew the tower. And if you got far enough away, that number would roll back over to 0, and at 0, 0 was the tower. So every point outside of that thing became the center of the tower. everything past a certain distance became 0 distance. And 0 distance, the block that's at just happens to be at 0, 0 is the tower. The AI here is checking its work. This is not the fastest way to work, but this project is pretty big and I haven't touched it in a really long time. So this is actually a really good use for this AI tool. And it's kind of trippy that it's fixing itself. In the meantime, I probably could have just implemented this thing. I'll leave this over here and I'm going to start on that just in case we don't actually get a good result. It dings. I don't think you can hear it, but it dings me when it's ready. We just want to draw these regions here. So let's go. Oh, of course it's done. You see the change. It's interesting. I'm not 100% sure this is the fix for this, but it doesn't really hurt to try it. So might as well. Okay, so I applied the change to the tool. Let's run it. And we will load our, I have both of these in here now. Man, something is really wrong with this. This is one of the reasons we're not selling this right now. Plus it also has to run in the cloud. That did not work at all. Okay, I totally got failed by the AI. Oh, I just undid something I needed. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's see if this fixes anything. So, the best way to visualize these probably be a different color for each region. Let's try this. Instead of bools, use an int for the dungeon array and assign every number a new color. In addition, in the generate dungeons, walk over all regions and assign Each region a unique number. Somebody asked here, where did I learn to code? This is a great story to tell while this thing spins off and tries to do this this big change. When I was 5 years old, my father taught me how to program, and I started making video games immediately. And I made a whole bunch of, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I made a whole bunch of text-based adventure games. And then by the time I was in high school, I was doing a lot of stuff with graphics and AI. And I had a lot of ideas about AI very similar to how they work today, but I was only 17 years old, and it was hard to sort of, and computers kind of weren't there at the time period. But I did write a AI program that did all my history homework for me one year. And it saved me from failing history. And that's a funny story. But when I was, I had made a lot of games by the time I was a teenager. And by the time I was 19 years old, I partnered with the guy who actually runs it's the Galloping Ghost Arcade. It's the biggest arcade in the country. And we started working on a digital video fighting game. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see it's the game I made before that. The game I made myself before that. It was a similar game to Minecraft. And it was hard back then, or not Minecraft, Mortal Kombat. And it was hard back then because there was no internet back then. So if you didn't know how to do something, you kind of had to find somebody in real life that knew how to do things, or you had to find books. So I had bought a lot of books, and I would try to find people in real life that knew how to do things, and I would invent ways of doing things myself. While I was in college, I built a game engine, and when I got out of college, I was showing that game engine to people in the game industry, and I got essentially right into the game industry, and I started working on the MechWarrior franchise, and that company was bought by Microsoft. So that's sort of the short of my life story. People are interested in the AI homework story, and this is actually a funny story. This was in the 90s, so you have to realize that computers weren't a thing before that, but I had been working on AI projects for months instead of doing my homework, basically. And I had a history class, and one of the things that you had to do in this history class was to summarize chapters in the textbook. And you would get points for this, and the teacher had a rule that you could turn in the homework at any time during the year. And the homework counted for a big part of your grade. And this was my junior year of high school. I remember this. And it was like 6 weeks before the end of the year, and I was definitely going to fail. And this was like I needed this to graduate, and I was definitely going to fail. So I had a choice at that point. I could either try to do all the homework in 6 weeks and see if I would pass, or I could try to write like an AI tool that would do it for me. So I took and I tore all the pages out of the book, and at the time I had access to a scanner with OCR, so I scanned the entire book, and it took me like 3 weeks, and I coded up my AI thing to summarize the chapters, and I remember the old computer, it took it like 10 minutes to do the work when it was fine. Like everything was all ready. I had all the program was ready, all the files were ready. It went and it took 8 minutes to do the work, and I ended up with a stack of homework that was like 6 inches high. And the next day I turned it in at school, and this was like in like 1991, and they had no idea how you could do this. Like they had, like nobody was even, like right now people are suspicious of GPT. Back then, like people barely used like a spreadsheet on a computer, so they had no idea how it was done. And I ended up getting like a B or something in the class. And I guess the question already people ask is like, what did you do for the final? But I just, I did well in the final without doing the homework. So I did good. This is interesting here. It changed. That is not correct. It should have changed this to an integer. And I'm not aware of the change that even made. It looks like it really fucked this up. I see it's giving everybody a region number, but the dungeons are still like the wrong data type, which is a mistake that the AI made. But it's walking over the regions the right way. This totally wasn't worth taking. I'm going to do this myself. It's just like slower than doing this myself. So let's just do this. I'll make these an int. And we will make these 0. And when we draw them, what we'll do is there like a brushes array? Brushes. What is brushes? Brushes is a class. There really is no good way to do this. Okay. I was hoping I could just get these all in one place in some reliable way. I'll just define like 10 of these, I guess. Brushes, new brushes, and we'll just make one not white, but white, red, brush array, red, yellow, blue. There's probably some cute way to do this with reflection. Crimson, that sounds cool. Green, Peru, Alicia blue. This is dark goldenrod. Yeah, this is maroon. Aqua, whatever. Bisque. That's a good one. Okay. Just give us some random colors. Oh, somebody's asking about the studio name. Let me get this done and I'll tell that story. The studio name story is a really crazy story. And there's an even crazier story about the robot girl. But let's do this first. Okay, so if dungeon of xy is equal to we want to make sure this stays black, then we will make the brush will be black. Drop here. Else we'll pick a brush from the list. So it's yeah, brushes. Oops, no. Brush list. Duncan brushes modulus. Brush list count. Length. Yeah. That's it. Okay. That should be good. And then this will be the brush. Okay, so at least we'll get regions of different colors. And let's do this code here where we split the regions. Yeah, here. Okay, for for each region and regions, we will draw these into the array. So yeah, that's actually right. We will do int is equal to 1. Plus, and mark these with color. Okay. Do we get, we should get like 2 boxes of 2 colors right now when we do this. Yeah. It's probably a flag or something. And when we do this again, we should get different splits. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. That's exactly what we want. Because now we can subdivide again. So this is one of the cool things you can do with this tool, with the AI that's built in. We could say take the larger region and subdivide it again. Think. No? Oh, there's a way to do this with, I'm using Copilot. That's it. Ah, that was right. Okay. Let's do that again. And let's, that's just going to do this once. Let's see if that works. We should get 3 boxes now. Totally did not work. Well, stop. Stop. Yeah, no, this is, we don't want this here. We just want to do this like a couple times. Yeah, so we get a 3rd region. Okay. So the amount of times that we do this split, these are going to end up being like in our diagram, this is going to be the hallways. So there'll be a hallway for each of these, and we should be able to just pick a random amount of splits, but it's not obvious to me how many splits we should do. I guess we don't have to worry about it right now. Let's just do like 3 of these, or 4. I don't even know if this is going to work. So this will do 4 splits. That is probably technically correct, but not what we want at all. Let's see if we can get Copilot to do this. We really want the longest side. Instead of the largest area, split the one with the largest side. Let's see how that works. Sure. Yeah. It's cool to be able to do this and not have to think too much about it. It's a nice way to experiment. Okay, that doesn't work either. That doesn't... Wish I could watch it do the splits. That is like disastrous. Having a hallway disconnected here doesn't help us either. It's interesting. Oh, it needs to split it along the longest dimension. That's what it is. I'll just keep using Copilot for this. Copilot works good when it's within the same file. My tool works good if it needs to do things across an entire project. But I think this is probably a good rule. Ask Copilot. Yeah. Always split the greater dimension How is it picking it right now? So the, yeah, that is exactly correct. This is an interesting thing. Since the AI wrote this, that's a really trivial change. But since the AI wrote it, I don't really know what's going on, and it's easier to have it fix it than it is to have me fix it. The digital DNA names, I'm trying to think. I was working with somebody at a time period, and they were working on a technology called digital DNA. And I went home that night, and I got a new Xbox, and I needed to make a gamer tag. So I was the first thing on my mind, so I just put it up there. And when you published games on the Xbox 360 on XBLIG, you would use your gamer tag as your publishing name. So it just kind of happened by itself. So I never really picked it as the name of a company. And I went through a big thing where I was going to rebrand the company and change the name of it because I had never really picked it for real. This is actually probably good. I think we just need more splits. Like you can imagine if these are each hallways that led into big rooms, that this would actually... This is why doing these visualizations, like doing this in a game and making this change and running around these would be hard every time. But doing it like this lets you try things out so fast. The other thing too is I should just have it right when we start. I should have it do one of these immediately. Yeah. Just have it do a couple more splits. I'm surprised that we're getting that many regions in one space. I thought that the 256 block thing would be a difficult constraint to work inside of, but it looks like it actually isn't. So what we're going to do here, well, we were going to do more create dungeon. We're going to do more splits. Let's do like another, like 6 more splits. So then in each of these regions, we would put rooms. I guess it doesn't really make sense to split edges up like this. Yeah, I guess so. Like they would be... I guess that would be kind of cool. You would end up with I wonder if I should try to get it to split more in the middle. It's kind of made the rooms for us, which is an interesting thing. It's like these aren't rooms, these are regions separated by hallways. Go back to splitting them based on their area again. I'm just so surprised at so I get how I can make this work. If I make the edges always be hallways, all of the nodes will connect, all of these segments will connect with each other. And it'll be sort of like sprawling tunnels and hallways, except it'll be sort of grid-like, I guess. But I could deliberately break the grid up. I almost want to do more splits, but I guess we can figure out some way to calculate that. I'm going to put this one. So let's try this. Let's ask Copilot to shrink the regions by a random shrink the region's edges by a random number from min hall width to max hall width. Did we not put that in there, or did we get erased? I called it wall width. Not exactly what I wanted, but close. Take that instead. Okay. What I'd like to do is actually just overwrite these. What did we say? 1, 2, 5. It's probably good. Yeah. Region is equal to I. We're going to shrink all of them. That should give us like kind of like janky different sized hallways. Yeah, and then regions of I is equal to shrunk region. Okay. See what we get. Oh, there we go. There's our hallways. I kind of like it. I could imagine this working out. I think maybe we should not make 1 unit hallways. I bet I could make ones that are like weird diagonals. But it's super easy to deal with these rectangles. to make sure that that doesn't happen. So this is pretty easy. So then we take out each of these regions and we divide them up into rooms with the same algorithm. And then we'll have something very dungeon-like. I'm kind of interested to see if these orthogonal dungeons really play out. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do here is we should really split this based on the size of the region. But we don't have to worry about this right now. We'll just do essentially we're just going to do the same thing again. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to walk over each of the shrunk regions. Yes. Oh, how do we separate this out? I think we just do the same thing again. Like just do a... I think what's going to happen is we're going to just keep splitting until we find something that isn't. And this would be super easy. That's a really reusable thing. And what I want to do here is I don't want to fill them in. I want to just fill in the edges. Okay. So fill in only the edges, not the entire areas. We'll let Copilot go do this for us. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, so what we get now is not what I wanted. Oh no, this is. It's just not very good. Uh, what we need is like a max room. Yeah. What we need is like a max room dimension, and we split until we don't have that max room dimension anymore. Even if it causes little areas. Let's try that. Oh, min room width. Max room width is maybe 20. Let's try that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep splitting until we don't find a single room that's bigger than that area. So what we're going to do is while I'll just do this. Okay. Forever. Well, true. You can see this building up though. It's going there. Okay, so largest size region. Okay. We want to do this in the other way though. Is what was it? Math.max of width and height. And if r dot, so this is width is less than max room width, or and r dot, no, this is largest size region. Break. Yeah. What do we get? We should get lots of little rooms. There we go. Whoa. I don't know if I like that. I guess if they connected to each other. The walls are also doubled up. I have to figure out if that is for real. Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Let's put more hallways in, but I think we're going to do a similar thing with the hallways. So this is cool. We have control now. So let's do like 10 splits on the, that's a lot. 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 splits on the hallways. Let's do 12 splits on the hallways. They're so regular. This isn't what I imagined. 20 splits on the hallways. Let's just keep splitting down. I'm starting to wonder if the other method of generating these dungeons is better. I didn't realize I would get so many rooms in such a small area, and it seems ridiculous. The other algorithm gives me more flexibility to do cool stuff. before I abandon this, I'm going to split down until I'm going to make a max, I'm going to do the same thing, a max region size. We'll go back to min-max. And what we'll do here is the same thing. This is going to make everything more square, which is probably okay. It's equal to 20 is 5 rooms, right? 20 is max room width is 20, so uh, 256 divided by 20 is 12. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Okay, so while true, and let's just do the same thing we did here. Largest size region. And we'll just break out if it's not at all what I was looking for. Okay. Let's double that. That's kind of what we're going for. A little bit more, though. I'm so surprised that... Yeah, here we go. These rooms was probably, it's a fixable problem. This is the best we're going to do with this. This is actually probably good. Let's do 60 or 256. Let's see. Let's do a power of 2. 64. This would actually probably work. I think this is the best that we would get out of this algorithm. I'm tempted to put this in the game to see. There's a trick to figure out where the doors should go. But I would be curious. Walking through these hallways would probably be fun. And it would be maze-like and confusing. And then you would get into these like short little chambers. In fact, what we could do is connect these in a way where you have to walk through all the chambers to get to the right place. I'm not convinced. I'm still not convinced. If this is the way to go or not. And we're coming up on 5 o'clock. I don't know. The other way would be single rooms with windy passages. I think this is good, though. I think that this would be cool. I think 64 is a little bit too big, though. I actually think that like 50 ends up working better. And even if the rooms are goofy, it doesn't really matter. But it's all fixable. Like all of those problems are fixable. This ends up making it more grid-like. This is a really cheap algorithm too. It's this is very, very quick. This is like the, these would be, there's a way I could make these where these connected in an interesting way. These boundaries should overlap. I'll have to figure out why that's not happening. In fact, that's probably a thing I could fix with Copilot. I think they need to be inclusive. Or the walls go on the outside edges. I could really tune this up in this tool. This is a really good tool for doing this. And yeah, all the values. This would be so hard to do this inside the engine. 54. Yeah, it's not obvious to me. It's somewhere around there. I have to like use my imagination. Like if I walked in here, there would be like a tunnel left and right, and you couldn't see, and you would go left and right, and it'd be this long hallway that led to these. You could totally get lost in these. Just a little, some of the details need to be worked out. This is cool how it, like this is exactly what I want, these connected chambers. Yeah, this is good so far. So I'm gonna stop the stream right here because I need a break. I might come back to this a little bit later. Do you guys want me to continue streaming this process, or should I go off and do this on my own? Okay, stream again. People are saying stream again. Okay, cool. I will do that. I appreciate everybody dropping by. Thank you very much.